Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go, LYCANROC Midnight Form. LYCANROC evolves from Rockruff during the nighttime in-game, and Rockruff is only available through raids or eggs. Unfortunately, when you get it from a raid, it's typically going to be too high of CP to use in the Great League, so you'll probably have to do what I did, which is I did remote raids on 2 accounts, and then traded to get low enough IVs. LYCANROC Midnight Form is a pure Rock-type Pokemon with the moveset of Counter, Psychic Fangs, and Stone Edge, so without further ado, let's check it out in action in the Great League. Hopping to the first match, picking up a fantastic lead Defense Deoxys into Trevenant, the opponent save switches into a Vigoroth, and immediately this has me thinking that this very well could be triple counter, and if so, I'm double weak to counter in the back, so that is definitely not good news for me. Thankfully, this is a really poor matchup for Vigoroth, so my plan here is basically just to stay in, and then hopefully use the Lickitung to take out the Defense Deoxys in the endgame, because typically the third counter user is either Obstagoon or Scrafty, so at the very least LYCANROC will be able to hit back for super effective damage with counter. We're able to absorb those moves, and we're able to farm down. So the question is, do they bring in their third? It's looking like they probably will, and the third Pokemon is revealed to be Scrafty. Thankfully, I should be able to get to the back-to-back Seed Bombs here, which will get that Scrafty quite low. Able to go for the first, I try and go for the second, they switch into Defense Deoxys, but we're able to get off a Shadow Ball. They have to shield this, and now I can bring in Lickitung. We have a shield advantage, and even though we're taking super effective damage, we're able to hit for super effective damage back as well. Lickitung going for the Body Slam, doesn't do a lot of damage, but any damage helps. And at this point, I'm basically just going to save 2 shields for LYCANROC, and hope that LYCANROC will be able to close out this match for us. Lickitung, able to reach another Body Slam, and this will be getting that Defense Deoxys quite low. They decide to let it through, and they're able to get to a move. I'm just going to let this go down. It's all up to LYCANROC. In comes LYCANROC, and the opponent brings in Scrafty. And right off the bat, that attack animation is very cool. I have 2 shields. I don't have to shield a power-up punch, but I may as well. And then I'm going to go for the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs, like Poison Fang, has a 100% chance to lower the opponent's defense, so you can combine that with counter to really apply a lot of fast move pressure as we're able to farm down the opponent, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into Scrafty, and this is absolutely terrible, as Scrafty has a very positive matchup against my entire team. So I just have to stay in here with Trevenant. We will be able to tank a foul play, but not super well. We are quite glassy. Trevenant gets exceedingly low, but the good news is we're at the back-to-back Seed Bombs, so we're going to be able to get this Scrafty low ourselves. Seed Bomb number 1, and then the opponent makes a very nice catch, catching the second Seed Bomb onto Skarmory. But unfortunately for that Skarmory, we have LYCANROC, and this is a matchup in which LYCANROC absolutely dominates. We're going to farm up, and we're going straight for the Stone Edge. Do they respect the damage? They do not. Skarmory is taken out. They can bring back in Scrafty, but if you remember, we have access to counters, so we're hitting them for super effective damage, and we should be able to survive 2 counters to get to a Psychic Fangs. We tank the power-up punch, going for the Psychic Fangs, but somehow the opponent snuck a counter when they threw a charge move, and we're not able to reach our Psychic Fangs, and now it looks like we're probably not going to be able to win the match. If we were able to debuff them, we could have farmed down without taking a second power-up punch, but unfortunately, we were not able to do that. The game was not working very well. What was in the back? It was a Drapion. We probably weren't going to win that anyway, but still frustrating to see that the game is still not working. I'm hoping they do fix it in the upcoming season. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into Swampert, the absolute dream lead. And if there's a Swampert on the lead, odds are there's probably a Skarmory in back that LYCANROC will really enjoy seeing. We do decide to bank a Seed Bomb for later, and then we're going to bring in Lickitung. We were a bit slow on the swap, but this is a pretty dominating matchup for Lickitung, so honestly, I'm not too worried about that, as we're just going to farm up until right before their third Seed Bomb, go for the Power Whip. It's only single resisted in this situation, and if they let it go, which they do, we're able to grab the KO. They bring back in Swampert. I'm going to commit to the Power Whip to force them to throw, which they do. I'm just going to let this go. Perfectly fine with letting it go down. It actually doesn't kill. They try and snipe with the Skarmory, and we're able to reach a Body Slam. Body Slam won't do a ton of damage, but LYCANROC will. In comes LYCANROC. These counters are hitting for neutral, and we will resist Sky Attack and Brave Bird. They go for the Sky Attack. Even when resisted, LYCANROC is not the tankiest Pokemon. It is pretty attack weighted, so it does a lot of damage, and Counter and Psychic Fangs can really ramp up as we're able to grab a shield there with the Psychic Fangs. And now at this point, I'm just going straight Psychic Fangs. I'm just going to do as much damage as possible. They call it, we're able to farm down, and we leave with a Psychic Fangs for the road. So we're going to be able to debuff that Swampert as well. So we should be in a pretty decent spot. They call it. They didn't have a reason to shield, but at this point, we are going to be able to reach the 2 seed bombs. Opponent realizes it, lets it through, and that's a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into Medicham. Absolutely dominating lead. Keeping switch advantage here will be quite important, and they save switch into a Galarian Stunfisk. This immediately makes me think this could be Medicham double steal, in which case, I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball connects and does big damage onto that Galarian Stunfisk, and then I'm going to bring in Lickitung. Lickitung will do what Lickitung does best, which is absorbing an absolute ton of damage. We're going for the Power Whip. Unfortunately, just as we reach it, they're able to reach Earthquake number 2, and that will get us quite low. So now, really hoping they decide to not shield here. They let it through, and we're able to keep switch advantage. That is massive. And here the opponent does decide to wait out their switch timer, which is a bit of a mistake because our switch timers were misaligned. And since they waited their switch timer, I'm now able to wait mine, and we are going to be back in sync. In comes the Trevenant, Medicham farming up, and it looks like they're going for an Ice Punch. I do want to preserve some health, so I will commit the shield. What is in the back? It is Bastiodon, and we have LYCANROC. These counters, we may not get same type attack bonus, but it's hitting for double super effective damage, and we are going to start to ramp up these counters with Psychic Fangs. Again, we're pretty glassy, so I am going to commit the shield, but after we've debuffed them once, you know what? I'm going to farm all the way down with LYCANROC, and we leave with a ton of energy. Back in comes the Medicham. My goal here is basically just to stall the clock with Psychic Fangs, and they actually commit the shield on the first. The opponent definitely should have let that through. That would not have done a ton of damage. They shield both. At this point, we can bring back in the Trevenant, get to the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will be taking out the opposing Medicham, and that is a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into Swampert. So we've had a couple really nice leads in a row. The opponent save switches into Galarian Stunfisk, and I'm going for the same plan as last time. We are going for the Shadow Ball to get that chip damage, but this time the opponent shields, and that throws a bit of a wrench into my plans. I am now no longer sure that I'm going to be able to keep switch advantage, which is unfortunate because they have a Swampert and I have a Rock type in the back. So that may not go the way that I am hoping. I call it, it does end up being the Earthquake, and now I'm in a range where an Earthquake is definitely going to be taking me out, so they can probably pretty safely bait with Rock Slide, because this is getting real close to Rock Slide range. This is a very tough call. I do decide to shield up. I want to try and get to the move. Can we get there? Yes, we're able to get to the Power Whip, and now I'm just hoping they decide not to fight for switch advantage, but they do, and at this point, they're going to be able to get to back-to-back. They outpace. I just have to take my shield advantage and hope. So we're going to let the Lickitung go down, and now in comes LYCANROC, and LYCANROC will have a lot of work ahead of it with that Swampert. I'm going to go for the Psychic Fangs. We are going to debuff them, do a little bit of chip damage, and then switch into the Trevenant, and the final Pokemon is revealed as Skarmory. So if I was able to keep switch advantage, I would have been in a perfect situation, but I was not, and now, honestly, I'm in a bit of trouble. They do decide to throw a move, and that's massive. They thought they could not farm down. They throw a move, and we may have a chance here. In comes LYCANROC. LYCANROC going for the farm down, but we're just not able to get there. We have no shields. We have to tank whatever they throw. It's the Sky Attack because Swampert has a move. Back in comes Swampert. LYCANROC able to get through a counter. Psychic Fangs will not KO. We have to get to the Stone Edge. LYCANROC able to get to the Stone Edge. Even though it's resisted, LYCANROC attack weighted, taking out the Swampert with resisted damage, and that's a good game. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into Dugong, and this is pretty bad for my whole team. I save switch into my Lickitung, and we bait out Medicham. Honestly, this is playable for me if they don't have Power Up Punch. So basically, I'm just hoping that they don't have Power Up Punch, but odds are, if they're switching into a Lickitung, they probably have Power Up Punch, and they do. Unfortunately, it's not looking like I am going to be able to grab a shield, whereas if they don't have Power Up Punch, oftentimes I can. which is quite nice. They go for a second power-up punch instead of farming down, and that prevents me from getting to a power whip. That is unfortunate. Going for the body slam. They know it doesn't KO, and I know it doesn't KO. That is very unfortunate. Trevenant comes back in to farm down. Back in comes the Dugong, and I bring in Lycanroc, and they are not switching out. So they may be looking to try to debuff us, but this is a situation where going up against a Pokemon like Dugong, where Lycanroc's lack of bulk is very apparent, because we are now very reliant on landing the Stone Edge, but they respect it. And at this point, this game is more than likely going to be over. The fact that they stayed in means they're probably weak to Lycanroc in the back, but unfortunately, Lycanroc is just too glassy. We come in with the Trevenant. Trevenant will be able to reach a move and take them out, but if they were weak in the back to Lycanroc, there's a very good chance that they're strong against Trevenant. We're able to take out the Dugong. What's in the back? It's a Mandibuzz, and I top left the match. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into the mirror. For this matchup, I do want to throw 7 Shadow Claws and then try and catch the Shadow Ball onto my Lickitung. So we farm up, switch, but the opponent switched. We have a simultaneous swap. They go into Galarian Stunfisk, and I bring in my Lickitung. This is pretty unfortunate, as now we're in a disadvantageous matchup, and that Trevenant still has quite a bit of energy, and that energy is very strong against the rest of my team. I go for the Power Whip. Power Whip does get them below half, but we just get outpaced here. I'm just going to call this, hope they make a misplay by baiting. They do not. They go for the Earthquake, and they're able to take me out. I bring back in the Trevenant. I'll overfarm as much as I dare. I think they're outside of Seed Bomb range, so I am going to go for the Shadow Ball on what should be the CMP tie, and they actually commit the shield. So they are wanting shields down. I'm going to commit the shield, and then I'm going to overfarm here as well and throw on what should be a CMP tie for the Rock Slide. That way I can maximize my energy because Mudshot is not doing a lot of damage to me. We're able to take them out. Back in comes the opposing Trevenant, and we sneak through a Shadow Claw. If they go for the Seed Bomb, which they do, we are able to get to a Seed Bomb of our own. This will not KO, but will get them low, and we actually grab a shield. Maybe there is hope. I bring in Lycanroc, and we're able to get a counter through. I'm going to overfarm as much as I dare, and then go for the Psychic Fangs to KO, and then we have to hope it's something weak to Rock or something weak to Psychic in the back, because we don't have any shields left. We are pretty glassy, and the final Pokemon is Registeel. This is absolutely heartbreaking. We're doing super effective damage with our counters. We're able to make those counters do more damage with the Psychic Fangs, but they're going to be able to reach a move, and our switch timer is not yet up. We go for Psychic Fangs number 2, clock is not up, and we're going to be taken out with a Focus Blast. So as you can see in the Zero Shield, able to put in some solid work, but no shields mean we get taken out. Hopping to the next match, leading Trevenant into Hypno. This is a pretty nice lead, but we definitely do have to keep an eye out for potential elemental punches or a potential Shadow Ball. So I am going to build up to the Shadow Ball of my own, go for the bait. We're able to bait, throw 2 more, switch, and catch what should hopefully be a Shadow Ball if they're not baiting, but they were baiting. They just go for the Fire Punch. Hypno farms up 2 Confusion, so they bank a punch for later, and then they bring in Skarmory. Honestly, I'm not too thrilled to see Skarmory here. It's not a bad matchup by any means, but I would much rather have it in the back where Lycanroc can put in a lot of work. So I am going to be going for the Body Slam. Body Slams are resisted, but the Body Slams and Licks really start to add up in this situation. And at this point, I have shield advantage, and I'm more than happy to keep it. So I'm not shielding anything. They just end up going for a Sky Attack. And this next Body Slam will be getting them deep into the red, and then we may be able to farm them down. We're able to get them low. Come on, Lickitung. Lickitung able to farm down. You love to see it. Will they bring in their original Mon of Hypno? They do not. They bring in a Azumarill to try and go for the farm down. I'm not quite able to reach the Power Whip, so I build up as much as possible, go for the Body Slam, but they are not fooled. On the bright side, we do have Trevenant, which will do very well against the Azumarill. The bad thing is that, unfortunately, Lycanroc doesn't really have any good matchups here. They go for the Ice Beam, and they make a very nice combo play. That banked Elemental Punch for later comes in handy, as now I'm forced to commit shields. I'm going to bank 2 Seed Bombs, bring in Lycanroc, and we're going to go for a very aggressive farm down. I have no shields left. I have to tank whatever they decide to throw. They opt to go for a Fire Punch, and now we're going for the farm down, and we're able to get it. And we have a Stone Edge loaded. This Stone Edge is going to do significant damage onto the Azu, who wants to preserve a shield. It is able to land. Can we get to the Psychic Fangs? Yes, we can. Lycanroc is going to be able to force the shield, and then Trevenant will win the CMP tie after they farm down. we're able to do a bunch of damage and grab the shield. Trevenant is going to be able to finish up this match with a seed bomb, and that is a good game. All in all, some final thoughts on LYCANROC. First of all, the moveset is fantastic. The one thing that is a bit annoying is its stat product. It's quite glassy. Being attack weighted means it's going to output a lot of damage, but with that low HP and defense respectively, it's not going to be around for a long time. I could see it having a ton of play in limited metas, but specifically for Open Great League, can you use it? Yes, but should you use it? There are probably going to be safer options. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.